people are worried about younger generations that are more exposed nowadays than before to video games and what that could entail, which is why they recently released an article basically talking about how video games is shaping the next generation. In this case, it talks about the title says boys, but they do talk about the generation as a whole. They do also mention how even though their focus is on male gamers, they do mention the counterpart, which is female gamers, and how it also has affected them. They basically do a compare and contrast on how video games affect one gender over the other. Recapping what the article kind of says, it basically talks about how recently, especially after the pandemic, we've seen a rise in people playing video games, and we haven't seen that much of a rise in socializing or in playing sports. Because we've seen a downfall in socialization or in playing sports, people are worried that kids are becoming antisocial. People who are young adults who play video games are going to struggle getting jobs. They're going to struggle at being able to socialize with their peers and all that kind of stuff. But the study does go into detail, and it does state that although this is what we think video games will cause for them, in reality, video games has helped them, and we saw this in a previous article as well. Video games have helped them create more problem-solving skills, create more friends, and increase their collaboration skills with other people. And some even stated that it helped their mental health. Now, it has, however, hurt their academics and their sleeping schedule. But this is not just a video game thing. In general, hobbies can cause you to lose focus on your academics or to lose sleep, right? If you're playing sports, that could still affect you in this way negatively, right? Any hobby, if done too much, is gonna affect your academics or maybe your sleep pattern, right? So there's not enough time to do everything. So it all depends on how you manage your time. Regardless, these little conclusions that we see here show us that video games are not making us more antisocial. In this case, it's actually helping us be able to create more friends. Because before, when video games weren't a thing, if you didn't play sports, if you didn't go to like different areas, the library, if you didn't like reading books, if you didn't like all these type of activities and you'd stayed at home, you would be considered a loner, right? Or that you would cause people to call you basically what they call a NEET, right? So there was a lot of bad stigma before when you would stay at home and you wouldn't go out. Back then, when you had no way to interact with other people, it kind of made sense for them to be worried because, well, if you're not interacting with other people, you're not learning social skills. There's all these things that they talk about being negatives for video games would actually take effect. But the reality is that video games has allowed those individuals that maybe don't click that well in their school or university setting, or maybe they don't like sports, they don't like going outside for all these events, and it's allowed them to have a place where they can meet people, like-minded people that they can then foster friendship with and collaborate more, learn more with them, and just have that type of interaction that previous generations didn't have. In other words, video games have become a third space. And if you don't know, there's been this talk about the death of third spaces. If you don't know what a third space is, basically it's the idea that you have your home and school, or your home and work, depending on where you are, if you're in university or if you're already working, right? But they're in between you going home or you going from home to work and stuff, you would go and do your hobbies, right? So your third places would be the mall, it would be the bar, it would be your local sports center, right? All these places where you would go and you would socialize with people. And it would be a good place for you to spend your time outside of being at home to sleep and study, or being at school studying or working all day, right? So it would help you be able to let off some steam and build connections. Well, the thing is, nowadays, although we may not have those physical third spaces, they might be dying out. The reality is that the new third place that we've been seeing is actually virtual third places, right? So you have stuff like VR chat. You have different video games that have allowed people to meet other people online, or even just meet their friends online and be able to interact with them, talk to them, similar to how you would do in any of these other physical third places. So you're getting all the benefits of being outside without having to leave the comfort of your own home, which has allowed a lot of people who normally wouldn't have been able to create those social skills to actually create those social skills, to create safety nets, and to be able to create a good environment for them to grow as a person. Now, there are some valid concerns about these type of virtual third spaces. The reality is that you don't know who you're talking to on the other side of the screen. So you don't know if that person could mean you harm. And that is a valid concern. Also, companies have known that they use video games as third places. So there's barely any restrictions on how you could make these third place spaces and how you can manipulate it to get money out of it. So there's a lot of very, very predatory practices in the video game industry meant for basically individuals to fork up their money so that they could have that type of social interaction, whether that be your appearance with skins, or whether that be your gameplay so you can be better at the game, so that way you can, contribute more for your team and feel more useful and just enjoy your interactions with other people more. So this study did state that the primary focus for individuals who are doing video games is not for them to necessarily stop playing video games or their social worries. It's literally just the predatory business models that have been profiting out of these individuals that have been looking for a safe space and a third place for them to interact with other people. That being said, not a single researcher interviewed suggested that parents ban video games. You shouldn't ban video games. If your kid likes video games, studies show that this can help them. But instead of banning them, if you are indeed worried, what they suggest is to bond with your child and actually play with them. If you play with your child, you can help them have those skills to identify what might be bad or predatory practices on them, while also being able to enjoy your time with them, connect and bond with your own kid while you're playing video games. And the same thing can be said about your partner, right? If you have a partner and you look down on them playing video games because they're wasting your time on video games, try playing with them. Maybe you can bond better with them. And if you think they're not socializing enough, maybe by you playing video games with them, you can learn how to maybe socialize with them in their space, right? So in other words, there's a lot of benefits to video games. And obviously, like with anything, if you become addicted, there's a lot of drawbacks from it. But if you help each other out and you guide each other while you play video games, you can make sure you maximize the benefits out of it and minimize the potential drawbacks of playing video games. So overall, really great study, and just showed that video games are here to stay and they can be a really good choice for you. And we may be worried about the younger generation, but as long as we do our part as well and we actually interact physically with the younger generations and partake in their activities, we'll make sure that they grow up and be equally, if not better than us in the future when they decide to take the reins and run the world. Regardless, remember to subscribe, and I will see you in the next gaming news recap of the gaming marketplace. See you there.